Devin McCourty, NBC Football Night in America studio analyst, three-time Super Bowl champ with the Patriots. What did you make of DeMarcus Lawrence?
It's funny. I think sometimes we forget when he said that Dallas is home, you expect to be back in Dallas. And I know him and Micah Parsons went back and forth on Twitter, but the truth is he's pissed. Dallas didn't offer him the money he thought he would get. Seattle did. So now probably all of the feelings that I think a lot of those guys in Dallas probably have is we know we're not winning. We got so much other chaos going on around here. Now I'm gone. I'm about to air it out. I'm going to say how I feel. So it's understandable. And, you know, he got to Seattle, and I'm sure that reporter was sitting there thinking, we're going to have a friendly conversation. We're going to talk about Seattle and what's next. And he's like, hold on, let me take a shot at my ex real quick, and then we can move on.
But would he have had a different answer if he was staying in Dallas and they did offer him the money, in a contract to stay there? Would he have said, we're not going to win a Super Bowl, but hey, it's my home and I'm coming back?
No, he'd have been telling us how they plan on winning a Super Bowl.
Of course.
And then we'd be talking about, they got no shot to win a Super Bowl, but they believe they do. So, yeah, I mean, that's how players are. You're always happy in that new place, March, April. We don't know if it's real until probably, I would say, early November to late November of if this marriage really works.
But you won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots. When did you think you were going to win another Super Bowl?
We thought every year. I mean, every year we got started, it was how to win a Super Bowl. And, 8 out of my first 10 years, we were in the Super Bowl or in the AFC Championship every year. So, but I think it's different. I think Dallas doesn't truly care if they're in a Super Bowl. They care about being talked about on TV or how we're talking about them today. Like, that's what's important in Dallas, I think, from the top down. So they don't have that. They don't care to bring in the right guys that'll lead to Super Bowls or lead to championships. They want the guys that are going to be talked about. I think that's important to them.
Yeah, and I find that fascinating, but it says a lot about Jerry Jones, that you get caught up in fame. You get caught up in people wanting to interview you and really losing sight of what made you famous, why people wanted to talk to you, and that's you won 3 Super Bowls. But that's that's a generation ago. But I don't know why you would be so addicted to fame, realizing the fame you get if you run your team the way you should run your team. They don't spend money in free agency. They do rely on the draft. They've been fortunate with a couple of draft picks, including Dak Prescott. But, I mean, they're just nobody has accomplished less while getting more attention than the Dallas Cowboys, right?
And it's ridiculous because you just said it. They drafted CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott. Think about these guys they've drafted, but they haven't decided to say, hey, how do we keep veterans or bring veterans in that show these guys what it looks like to win year after year? And I always, I'm in studio every Sunday night with Jason Garrett. And if the Cowboys lose and I see Jerry Jones having this media scrum, and I would look at Jason, I'm like, how do you as a head coach come back to your team on Monday and address the game or whatever happened when the owner / GM just said whatever he had to say to everybody that we probably didn't want to talk about? And he would talk to me about trying to keep the focus on the guys in the locker room, of controlling what you can control. And think about that as a head coach. If you're the Dallas Cowboys head coach, you're trying to talk about controlling the things that you can control when it's kind of like the thing you can't control is your owner who runs everything. Like that'll never work.
If you were on the Vikings, let's say you're one of the veterans on the Vikings. Let's say coach front office comes to you guys and says, what do you think about bringing in Aaron Rodgers? Your response would be what?
The plan. Like is this the guy that's going to take us to the Super Bowl? And then my next question would be, what does that do for the development of J.J. McCarthy? Do we believe that this guy can come in and give us the best chance to win the Super Bowl this year? Okay, if we say that, then does this help J.J. McCarthy get better? Does this make him worse? And I would say, depending on what we ever see from Zach Wilson, but in all indication, the guy that went down and played in Denver last year seemed like a better player than he was on the Jets. he talked about the impact Aaron Rodgers had on him. I think we live in a world where we always talk about Aaron Rodgers from the media standpoint of like somebody says, I talk to people and they say this and that. But it always seems like some of the direct comments from players like Zach Wilson is the guy was great for me. He helped me. So to me, if you think that's the case, for me, I would rather see JJ McCarthy get the start in Minnesota, let him go lead that team. But if Kevin O'Connell and Kwasi and those guys felt like Aaron Rodgers was it, I wouldn't be angry at that.
Devin McCourty, he's an analyst for Football Night in America, three-time Super Bowl champ with the Patriots. Cooper Kupp, you want to talk about, well, that was quick. All of a sudden, it's like, can we get a trade partner? I know he's making too much money for the production or lack thereof. Where do you see Cooper Kupp? What kind of receiver is Cooper Kupp now?
I would love to see Cooper Kupp for the New England Patriots. Maybe I'm a little biased. I would like to see him there. I think he's a guy that he's not the same. He doesn't have the same ability and quickness, I think, to get open no matter what. Like he was a guy that if you ran zone, he knew how to attack you and could pick apart and decipher what coverage you were in. And then if you played man, you just couldn't keep up with him. I don't think he gets away from man as well, but he's still very knowledgeable. And I think if you bring him into a receiver room, I think he's going to change the dynamic of your receiver room. Kendrick Bourne, a receiver for the Patriots now, said back in college, he said Cooper Kupp told him, "You're a better player than me. I just work harder than you." And I think that method and that mentality will help change the room. And if not the Patriots, we're just talking about them. The Dallas Cowboys could use a guy like Cooper Kupp who comes in with a focus on winning games, winning Super Bowls, and he might have the impact similar to Saquon Barkley I felt had in Philly this year of putting the team first, doing what's best. And I think that trickled down to everybody. I think Cooper Kupp can be that type of guy.
I've been mentioning if I'm the Steelers, I give Aaron Rodgers until 5 o'clock today. I just say, if you love us, join us. If you don't, and you want to go someplace else, you're not quite sure, then we don't want you. What do you think of that philosophy?
I think at some point you have to do that. You have to draw a line in the sand because how do you have to decide how we get better as a team. You just went and you paid DK Metcalf. You still have George Pickens on the other side. You're putting together something that is looking pretty good right now. Signed Darius Slay. Like we're missing the quarterback. Like Aaron, like what are we doing here? Are you going to sign? You talk to a lot of different free agents. They've talked about when they go and they visit a place, the team tells them, hey, if you leave the building, offers off the table because we have to move on. So whatever it is, like I think for them, you have to fear right now if you don't get Rodgers and then Wilson signs somewhere else. Now what do you do?
Besides money, what's the most important thing that you're looking for or players look for in free agency?
I think the culture that you're playing in and then what system you're playing in. I think if you're a smart player and understand that it's not just the money, because I always thought of free agency or being a player, how do I make every single dime in my contract? Everyone always talks about how do you just make the guarantee? Why? Like, why if I sign a 5-year deal, why not try to sign on somewhere where I think I'll fit for all 5 years? So a part of that culture is the coach on the chopping block? Am I going to sign with a coach and general manager that might not be here next year and we get a whole new person with philosophy? And then the system you're in, does it benefit you as a player? Everybody's selling you in free agency. You need to do your own research and figure out, hey, what kind of player was in this system? How do I benefit? You heard Justin Jefferson when Kevin O'Connell and those guys got to Minnesota. He said, how do I become Cooper Kupp? What did he do? How was he so successful? How is he so successful for LA? And Kevin O'Connell said, learn every position, every wide receiver position, then I can put you anywhere. So like that guy now knows how to be successful. You have to find that in free agency as well.
Do you think guys go for location, weather?
I think some of the older guys, I think that's a part of it of you wanting to do something. I would say family, weather, all those different things. Like I think of a guy like Cooper Kupp, like he might want to stay on the West Coast. He's won a Super Bowl, he's won a Triple Crown, like he's had a ton of success. For him, there starts to be things that you say, hey, if I want to keep playing football, I want these things. And I understand that. But I think those younger guys who are getting to that first real big money, they'll sign anywhere. You heard Milton Williams. He signed in New England. He said, I just won a Super Bowl a month or two ago. I think this might be better than that Super Bowl. He's already forgotten about the Super Bowl because he sees all those zeros.
Good to talk to you, Devin. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us.
Likewise, man. Good talking to you, Dan.
That's Devin McCourty, Football Night in America, 3-time Super Bowl champ with the Patriots.